Welcome back to New World Next Week. I'm James Corbett of CorbettReport.com.
And I'm James Evan Pilato of MediaMonarchy.com. Wouldn't that be a stupid thing for me to say? Not that I'm James Evan Pilato of MediaMonarchy.com. That's a smart thing to say. We've got that story, plus paving rainforests and rose gardens for spring. But first, hello, ICC. These guys right here. Israel restarts large-scale bombing of Gaza, at least over 400 killed. From nwnw585, the Israeli military on Tuesday morning began launching large-scale airstrikes at the besieged Gaza Strip, marking the full-scale resumption of Israel's genocidal war, a Holocaust, if you will. Al Jazeera reported that 404 Palestinians have been killed, 562 wounded by Israeli airstrikes on homes and tents, sheltering displaced Palestinians all across the Strip. Pictures and videos from Gaza that surfaced show there is a large number of child casualties. Israeli bombardment has returned to Gaza, bringing massacres with it once again, Al Jazeera wrote on X. The bodies of children killed in their sleep lay scattered in the aftermath. The massive attack came about 2 weeks after Israel imposed a total blackout on aid and all other goods entering Gaza at the end of the first phase of the ceasefire deal. Israel violated the agreement by imposing the blockade, refusing to engage in negotiations on the second phase, and killing Palestinians throughout all the phases. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a statement Tuesday morning that he instructed the Israeli military to escalate in Gaza in response to Hamas rejecting U.S. and Israeli terms for an extended temporary ceasefire. However, Hamas just wanted Israel to stick to the deal they agreed to in January, which would have involved a permanent truce and a full Israeli withdrawal. So you kind of see, that's why they broke it. Hamas told Reuters that Israel had chosen to end the ceasefire unilaterally and that Israel's attacks exposed the remaining Israeli hostages to an unknown fate. The White House confirmed that President Trump was notified before Israel launched the massive bombing. What? We're super busy releasing all the John F. Epstein files. The Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on the attacks in Gaza tonight, said White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Leavitt repeated Trump's threat that all hell would break loose in Gaza. Trump previously threatened that the people of Gaza would be dead if the hostages weren't immediately freed. Since Trump came into office, he has approved a massive amount of military aid to Israel, which you've heard on all the alternative media platforms, approving over $12 billion in arms deals and supplying Israel with 2,000-pound bombs. And again, I'm sure Elon's tweeting all about this, right? Trump, Putin agree on energy infrastructure ceasefire in Ukraine. So the New World Next Week updates. U.S. launches another round of strikes across Yemen. All of the articles above are all ongoing operations and are all from antiwar.com, which is having a fundraising drive right now. Again, you might say, I can't stop World War III, but you can maybe help out some of the messengers who've been bringing you the news, ours truly, and definitely folks like antiwar.com/donate. James.
Well, that's exactly right. I think people will notice how often our coverage goes back to antiwar.com. So, speaking of which, usual and New World Next Week proviso, we're recording Thursday morning Japanese time, Wednesday evening U.S. time. So here's the latest update from antiwar.com. Trump threatens Yemen's Houthis with, quote, total annihilation, noting that after another day of bombing in Sana'a on Wednesday of a residential area, killing women and children bravely, like the U.S. Military often does, Trump has threatened the U.S. Has threatened that the U.S. bombing campaign on Yemen will result in total annihilation of the Houthis, and issued a new warning to Iran. Great. Okay, so as everyone knows, the Trump administration is Prince of Peace and is going to bring peace to the world somehow, right? So what does Tulsi Gabbard have to say about this? TheGrayZone.com, Tulsi Gabbard reverses her strong opposition to genocidal Yemen war, noting that U.S. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has just called for other countries to join the U.S. in attacking the Houthis in Yemen, a country she once strongly opposed intervention. Yeah, what? Tulsi, young global leader CFR Gabbard, suddenly turning No, I can't believe that. But as my little bit of non-legal advice to you, James, there in the belly of the beast in the United States, I'll just say maybe you shouldn't mention the I word or anything bad about Zionism because you might end up deported or Mahmoud Khalil'd. For people who don't know about the unprecedented, incredible craziness that's happening right now over free speech in America under the Trump regime, I will direct people to a good overview of the Mahmoud Khalil case from Robert Inlakesh at Minpress News, the case against Mahmoud Khalil, how the Israel lobby fueled a campus crackdown. Surprise, surprise. And also Craig Murray, who has a post up on the curious case of Mahmoud Khalil, breaking down the legal ramifications of the attempt. For people who don't know, one of the protesters, campus protesters protesting for Palestine against Israel, has been accused of being a Hamas supporter, so they must deport him despite the fact that he's a green card holder. They're not charging him with a crime. It's absolutely unprecedented and crazy when you look into the case. And as usual, John and Nisha Whitehead have a great editorial giving sort of the overview of this. When dissent becomes a crime, the war on political speech begins. Definitely worth a read if you are so inclined. But I will just finish up this slurry of updates with this one, which I know will pique your interest in particular, James. From Ron Paul Institute, beware the Ides of March. Are Trump and Netanyahu acting in tandem, committing political suicide? Noting that, of course, March 15th, 44 BC was the date on which the Roman senators conspired to assassinate the Caesar who had crossed the Rubicon in a vain attempt to save the Roman Republic. I would only quibble to say that the 15th of March 2025 might end up being the Ides of March in which the Caesar crosses the Rubicon by slaying innocent women and children in the preparatory stages of World War III or War in Iran, whatever is taking place right here, in order to completely scuttle whatever was left of the Republic. But what do I know? I'm just a Canadian in Japan.
Now, what do I know? I was reporting on Khalil on my Monday Morning Monarchy. The part I was seeing was this guy's got UK government clearance, so he's here acting sort of as a foreign agitator agent. Does that hold any water?
Craig Murray goes into that specifically because people might know Craig Murray is British. So he talks about that in his article and, puts a bit of water on that fire, shall we say.
See, because again, being here in the States, giant blind spots of reporting from our usually awesome alternative media. James, do you mean slurry or flurry?
Yes.
A slurry flurry.
Both. I thought of that while I was saying it, but I thought slurry.
Oh, good Lord. Whew. All right. Have a little awkward laughter and some chuckles to get through, the New World Next Week sigh that's obviously coming at the end. Our second segment on this New World Next Week, episode 585, is Trump set to impose a new, say it with me, travel ban. Grabbing this from Time.com, the Trump administration is reportedly considering a new travel ban for citizens of up to 43 countries, a potential escalation of Trump's first-term travel ban, which primarily targeted Muslim-majority countries. An internal memo obtained by the New York Times and then Reuters suggests the Trump administration has included new countries in a draft of a 2.0 travel ban. Per the memo, the countries on the list would be sorted into 3 different tiers, red, orange, and yellow. Mad props to Tom Ridge. Citizens from the 11 countries in the red category would reportedly be just straight up flatly barred from entering the United States. The 11 countries on the list include, of course, the greatest hits: Afghanistan, Bhutan, actually, who's that? Cuba, Iran, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. The Times reported, though, that this list was formed by the State Department a few weeks ago and some changes could be made. Citizens from countries in the orange category, which include Haiti, Russia, and Pakistan, would have their visas heavily restricted. Per the Times reporting, citizens traveling to the U.S. from these countries would be subjected to mandatory in-person interviews in order to receive a visa. The third category includes countries in the yellow group. That sounds racist. meaning they have 60 days to address concerns from the administration, or else each country risks being moved up the charts to the other categories. Countries reportedly listed under the lowest yellow category include Cambodia, Zimbabwe, Republic of Congo. Mention of a potential new travel ban by the Trump administration comes shortly after the president was asked during a press briefing on Wednesday, March 12th, about what countries might be targeted on his 2.0 list. This was not the Lois Lane that whacked him in the face with a boom mic. Sidebar, social media detectives have found that NPR's Danielle Kurtzleben. It was such a... They didn't even apologize. This is the strange thing, James. Sidebar. You see people so sort of in the mode, in the zone. Again, this is not some junior reporter girl they just drafted in. She's a pro. She's been at this for a long time. To hit the president in the face, who kind of laughs it off, and you don't even apologize. You just plow forward with your question as though you are a non-playable character who can't adjust to any new interactions. That will be included in your show notes. Returning, Trump shut down that question from that reporter saying, "Wouldn't that be a stupid thing for me to say?" Meaning, will you tell us all your moves and plans that you're going to make here while we're yelling at you on the tarmac with the noises of airplanes and helicopters? I've always hated that, James. Again, as a media guy, it's like this is the worst place to do any media recording. Countries considered for Trump's potential new travel ban. That one's from the aforementioned Reuters, and it gets its own bastion of truthiness entry, James. Trump travel ban on Wikipedia.
If only someone had warned us about this. Oh, right. Episode 453. Don't worry, the border problem is about to be solved, in which I went through all of the details of, for example, the original travel ban, protecting the nation from foreign terrorist entry into the United States, which, of course, is all about getting those evil terrorists, and it's all about them. So don't worry, guys. Oh, wait. Section 8, expedited completion of the biometric entry-exit tracking system. Digital ID, travel ban. Yay! Wow, this is going to be so awesome, and hopefully it'll make a lot of money for the gaggle of military, industrial, bio, big tech credens that surround the Trump and infest the Trump administration, like, oh, I don't know, Anduril, which works on those digital border guard stations and all of the cool new AI tech that they're going to be unleashing on all of this. All I know is enjoy your digital ID, guys. This is what everyone wanted from the MAGA administration, isn't it? And by the way, how's real ID coming? I know it's been promised for like 20 years. Have you got yours yet?
I had one when I was an Oregon resident, because of course, Democrat states that hate George Bush were super fast in advancing and adopting all that technology. Thankfully, poor loser Democrat states like New Mexico still haven't got it all together. Every time I go to the airport here in Albuquerque, which thankfully isn't too many times, there's always some new update about, hey, this thing might totally be coming in the next couple of years, so maybe think about it. Hey, James. Well, I guess, will I be able to escape America to go watch America's pastime of baseball be played in Asia? I'm kind of mad about this. I'm gonna complain to co-president Elon about taking our... Because, you know, they steal taxpayer money to get some big new giant stadium built. They take taxpayer money and then they take the opening games of baseball season 2025 and play them in Japan. So you're getting the Shohei Ohtani show. Well, again, the people that paid for it, don't get to watch it. I'll let it go. And get into not the Babylon Bee. Amazon forest felled to build road for climate summit. Good night, everybody. Holy moly, James, this is a good one. And you had me double checking. It's like, this is real. Is this a joke? Is this one of those really clever satire sites that doesn't look like satire? ClimateDepot.com has the article from the Big Brother Corporation. A new 4-lane highway cutting through tens of thousands of acres of protected Amazon rainforest is being built up for the COP30 climate summit in the Brazilian city of Belém, Belem. I'm sure I'm mangling that. Luckily, it'll all be linked up in the show notes. It aims to ease traffic to the city, which will bring in more than 50,000 people, including world leaders. drug dealers, sex traffickers, all those folks as well, at the conference in November. The state government touts the highway's sustainable credentials, but some locals and conservationists are outraged at the environmental impact. And anyone who's seen any bit of news or media the last 30, 40 years might think that seems a tad hypocritical. The Amazon plays a vital role in absorbing carbon for the world and providing biodiversity, and many say this deforestation contradicts the very purpose of a climate summit. Along the partially built road, lush rainforest towers on either side, a reminder of what was once there. Logs piled high in the clear land, which stretches more than 13 kilometers, 8 American miles through the rainforest in Belém. Diggers and machines carve through the forest floor, paving over wetland to surface the road, which will cut through a protected area. It has that beautiful writing of the BBC talking about horrible contradictions. Plus, some relateds, an early contender for the 9th annual Fake News Awards. Or is it a hoax? Email signatures are now harming the planet. You thought it was cow farts. It's email signatures that are harming the planet. Could cost people their lives. It's time to stop using them. That is from What's Up With That. And you thought we would be able to avoid Trump for one segment on this episode? Wrong. Donald Trump paving over White House Rose Garden. That is a developing story. I don't really know much about it, but it seemed to perfectly parallel, again, what goes on as above, so below. James?
Indeed. Well, we will get one story that doesn't come back to Trump one of these decade weeks, won't we, James? But yes, on the email signature story, that is just, it's so crazy. I cannot stress it. You have to read it, to the point where What's Up With That? They're reposting something that's posted from somewhere else, and they do speculate that it is probably a hoax, like the Sokol affair, where they were posting these fake science papers in science journals not science journals, like humanities journals, to show that you can publish any garbage. They're thinking this must be a hoax, because there's no way this could be true. Email signatures are literally killing people because they contribute to global warming, because it requires extra, storage and processing. It's nonsense. Anyway, look into that. But on the note of, felling the Amazon rainforest, protected areas, in order to have a climate summit is so ridiculous, so on its face nonsensical, that at the very least it'll make very good fodder for another round of those stories that get written every single climate summit about the, jetting in on their private jets from around the world to come in and lecture us peons about driving our car to work in order to make a living, etc. But I want to stress here what I stressed with regards to the lockdowns during the scamdemic, when, we had the people having their own private political parties or sneaking out to have affairs and stuff during the lockdowns. Lockdown for thee, not for me. Remember that. All that stuff that we talked about here on New World Next Week. I want to stress the same thing here. It's not just hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is, we believe that this scamdemic is killing everyone, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm a special person with special rights. Or I believe the world is dying because of this global warming, but it's okay. We can cut through the rainforest. We can fly in on our private jets. No, it's not that. They are demonstrating to you that they don't believe this nonsense. They don't believe there is some deadly virus that's killing everyone that they have to be super careful about. They don't believe that global warming is being caused by man-made CO2. And they're demonstrating that to you. So let's put that out there as the narrative. It's not hypocrisy. They are demonstrating it is a lie. Having said that, I will just throw in one other update, which I know I'm the only person who's really interested in this case, but it just keeps going on. ClimateDepot.com. Judge sanctions Penn professor Michael Mann for bad faith trial misconduct in defamation suit. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago. Here's an update to the update. It continues to go on. I am very interested in this, and people know why I am interested in this, or one of the reasons, is because I followed a specific podcast that was devoted to following every day of this trial as it was going on. And so I know I feel like I was in the courtroom because I know all the twists and turns that this crazy course took. That podcast was called Climate Change on Trial, and they have just posted a special episode, Man's Infrivolity to Man, which I haven't listened to yet, but I will. And as I say, people will know about that because I talked about it quite specifically in a Solutions Watch on niche casting from last year. So I'll throw that in the show notes for people who are interested in checking it out.
I think that's what I said during the Scamdemic. I put it into horror movie terms that anybody could understand. If they really believed Jason Voorhees was outside and will machete you as soon as you step outside, they would not have been, let's say, breaking their own lockdown rules to go shop for turquoise, say here in New Mexico as the governor, or sneaking around to have affairs or dinners or parties or any of that stuff. If they really thought it is killing you, they wouldn't have tried it. They wouldn't have done it. That to me always said, they know that this is being overhyped, this 99.97% survivable thing. Yeah, celebrating 5 years of the Scamdemic, James. The big anniversary announcement, I believe, was a Friday the 13th when Orange Man gave the pronouncement. And I think getting you to sell out your beliefs, to stay a part of the team and the plan is always, I think, part of the game, James. Whether it's a presidential party, getting you to go along with Obama and then murdering kids, or getting you to go along with Trump and then murdering kids, I think that's a huge part. It implicates you. So then it's almost like, well, I'm kind of guilty in this, so I better continue to play. It traps you into continuing to play the game. It just kind of came to me even as I'm thinking about it there, James.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. They get you to buy in with your identity so that once you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound. You got to go all the way.
And there are some, still going all the way. The Trump derangement from some of the punk bands, that are suddenly having to all cancel their tours because they're all horribly sick for some reason. But James, you reminded me about slipping in goofy research just to show how they could get it published. I'm going to mangle it, but the most famous one for me was something about performative behavior at gay dog parks in Portland. Yeah. I'll dig that one up and include that in the show notes as an example of, again, because MAGA saw it and were like, look at these crazy nuts, they're putting anything. Again, it's, as I've said for many years now, it's Troll-America. It's just teams trying to trick and troll and out-gotcha the other. Kids, you're both just the worst. The best is newworldnextweek.com, your source for Media Monarchy and Corbett Report items that keeps us fear-free and ad-free. You've never seen any ads. You've never seen us suddenly shilling for things and realizing, oh gosh, my identity is so associated with this hero or villain they introduced into the show. You've never seen us do that. I think, just as I say, hardcore news, music, memes, and more, as you hear on my streams at MediaMonarchy.com/listen, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Mountain Time. And the big grabby item I like to mention is, of course, I premiere the exclusive New World Next Week episodes before they've been published after my live Morning Monarchy, Thursday mornings at around 10 a.m. Mountain Time, or whatever time it is, James.
Be there then. Hey, James, it is finally, it looks like the weather is going to turn tomorrow and we might actually have spring in Japan tomorrow. It's still a bit cold here, but I'm hearing 24 hours from now. How about in New Mexico?
We have a funny thing where we've gone through recently what was the spring of deception, and then we just had the third winter, and it's looking like, yeah, we should be heading into spring, as yes, of course, spring equinox will be happening, as most of you are hearing and watching this. So again, we'll hope people keep their heads on, keep your head straight, don't lose it. I mean, James, we've been talking off mic. I've got a couple of piles of family issues that are happening, and I just kind of found myself today, and also problems with the house and pieces of the roof blowing off, and stupid prairie dogs are just wrecking the yard. Not that I care about grass, but I don't want them to mess up the well water and the plumbing and all that sort of stuff. crap's falling apart everywhere, and I just have to kind of laugh to not cry, to keep going. And that's how we
That's
end
it.
New World Next
Well,
Week.
I hope people will send their
585.
love in the comment sections. And we do appreciate all of the love and support from you guys out there. So thank you guys for keeping us going. And thank you, James, for doing what you do. And thank you, Brock, for editing things and making them all flow well. On that note, let's do it again.
And thanks to CastBot for running the store and the memberships. Appreciate you, buddy. Take care, man.
Take care.